Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo to the yo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla, aka The Definition, aka Tyrant's Bane. Hitting y'all with a live stream on this Sunday morning, March 9th, 2025. And we in some spring forward bullshit, y'all. Yeah, they done turned the clocks forward 1 hour and fucked my sleep up, man. They done fucked my sleep up. Yeah, they fucked my sleep up, you know what I mean? I really do hate spring forward. Like, we really need to go back to fall back and keep it that way. There's no reason for any of this. We're not fucking farmers anymore. All right? We're not. They did that for farming. We're not doing that no more. Okay? When it goes back to when shit hits the fan and the grid goes down and we have to farm and we have to hunt and all that other shit, I can see, you know, at that point time will be relative. But right now we don't need this spring forward bullshit. You understand what I'm talking about? We don't need no daylight savings. We don't need none of that. But anyway, let me stop complaining about the time, y'all. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty straightforward live stream, right? As many of you may or may not know, Donald Trump turned President Zelensky away when he came to the Oval Office, and they got into a little pissing match, right? And so, Unleavened Evan was good. You expect Russia is no less a puppet for the global. Yeah, no, they're probably not. I would venture to say that as well. Yes, Donald Trump basically told President Zelensky of the Ukraine, right, that he would not be supporting his and funding his defense against Russia or his war against Russia. He suspended any funding because Zelensky came in there entitled. But at the same time, Trump threatened Russia with sanctions if, you know, they continue to launch their campaign against the Ukraine. And Russia was like, suck a fat one, and they continued to bomb the shit out of Ukraine. In particular, they I think the last bombing attack, they killed like 25 people in several different regions. And listen, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You know what I mean? There has been a lot of devastation. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of violence, a lot of territory entering, right? Russia and Ukraine has been going at this for years now. And this idea that Trump would come in and just shut it down immediately, it doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like that. Even with this ceasefire that Zelensky offered, Russia, and particularly Putin, is not going to be satisfied until he annexes what he feels like he needs to annex from Ukraine. And it's not going to end well for the Ukraine at the end of the day, especially if the United States continues to not fund the Ukraine, right? But Zelensky is in talks with, you know, the European Union to get some type of funding, some type of aid for Ukraine. So, you know, maybe they can work something out. But Donald Trump, in my opinion, for the good of us, right? For the good of us extortion victims, right? Because we're basically being extorted, and they're taking our money and they're giving it to countries like Ukraine for shit that doesn't benefit us. For the good of the people here, he needs to keep that funding away from Ukraine and let Europe figure that shit out. That's what needs to happen. They might have to get a lot more involved than they want to be, right? They might have to enter into a hot war with Russia themselves. Stephen X, peace be upon you too, brother. Assalamu alaikum. King Ivan, what's good? But that's some shit that the European Union and NATO and the other NATO countries, that's the shit that they need to deal with, that they need to handle, right? We don't need to be concerning ourselves with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, because anything outside of us getting into a direct conflict with Russia is not going to stop anything. And giving Ukraine money, giving them weapons, giving them this, that, and third, it's not going to do anything but prolong and escalate this thing. So we just need to remove ourselves and let the chips fall where they may. That's just the bottom line to it. It is what it is, y'all. 11 Evans says, since Tyron said only through the obedient, the problem isn't at all the chain of command. The problem is the chain of the obedient. Facts. Facts, 11 Evan. You see, tyrants would not be able to commit tyrannous acts if the people they're committing tyrannous. The hell's wrong with my speech today? See, it's this damn time change. It's this goddamn spring forward bullshit got my speech all fucked up. Tyrants would not be able to tyrant if it weren't for the people that they commit tyranny against being obedient, just like 11 Evans said. And that's one key thing that we have to recognize. That's one thing we have to recognize within this country, particularly because of this idea of the consent of the governed, right? Which is stated in the Constitution that the people, basically what it says is that the people give their consent to be governed. And if we give our consent to be governed, guess what we can also do? We can remove, all we need is the boss. Exactly, Stephen X. It's a social contract. Oh, by the way, this is some merch that I got from Stormy B Man's Stormy B Man, right? This Stormy B Man merchandise. I dig the hat, you know what I mean? It says the Sensei. It's great quality. This is sewn in. This ain't no patch, by the way, y'all. Yeah, I really enjoy the merchandise. My wife was trying to, when I was leaving this morning, my wife was trying to steal the bucket hat. Talking about, oh, let me have that. I'm like, woman, you don't knock it off. This is my hat. But I'll probably end up getting her one from Stormy B Man. I'll probably have to buy another one. I'll get another one from Stormy B Man for the wifey. 11 Evans says, if you can't revoke your consent, then it wasn't consent to begin with. Well, that's true. But the thing is, because our forebears gave their consent, well, not even ours, right? So you really had to get down into the weeds of it. Some of our ancestors never gave consent in the first place. Some of our ancestors were enslaved and then assimilated into this social contract. So if you really think about it, those of us whose ancestors were enslaved in this country, right, of African descent, or those of us who have ancestors that were already here before the Europeans showed up, that then became slaves, we know that they never gave their consent to begin with. But now we are in the position, right? We are in the position to recognize that consent that we did not consciously give can still be revoked. You know what I mean? Now, are they going to fight against our revocation of that consent? Absolutely. Sunshine, good morning, Queen Sunshine. How you doing this morning? How you doing this morning? Yeah. But here's the bottom line to it. The good thing is that we have removed ourselves from this Russia Ukraine thing. Right? That's one less concern that we have as a people. And as Trump goes through, as the Trump administration goes through, as this Doge goes through and cuts all these government programs that people are whining about going away. Like, you listen, we're whining about these things being taken away, right? We're whining about it. We're whining about these what they feel, right? Because I understand that they think these things that they are government handouts and all this other shit, it's government handouts. They think they're government handouts, and what they're willing to give us for doing that is a one-time $5,000 payment, but only if you make a certain amount of money. You have to make a certain amount of money in order to get that $5,000 if they decide to give it to us. See, they're cutting all these government programs, and they're saving all these hundreds of billions of dollars, including now that they're cutting off the Ukraine. That's more hundreds of millions of dollars, more hundreds of billions of dollars, right? That could be refocused. And there are a lot of key things that we can do with those refocused funds. But in the meantime, what you got is you got Russia. They're continuing to drop bombs. They're continuing to launch strikes against Ukraine. And Ukraine is also doing the same shit. Ukraine is also launching strikes against Russia. They're doing drone attacks. There was there's just news and whatnot all over the place about what they're doing to each other. And a lot of people have this empathy and sympathy for Ukraine, which is natural, right? Because at the end of the day, Russia invaded the Ukraine. They invaded them. And we would not like it over here if Russia or China or Iran or North Korea or somebody like that decided to invade us, right? We would not like that. But at the end of the day, would we expect Ukraine to give us any aid and any weapons? Would we expect Israel to give us aid and weapons? Hell no. We would not. Because guess what? We're still giving Israel money. We would not expect Israel or Ukraine to give us money. We probably wouldn't even expect the European Union to give us any aid or any money. We would be on our own. Trust me on that. We would be on our own, because guess what? At the same time, if they decided to invade the United States, any of the many enemies our government has created for us, if they decided to invade the United States, they would probably simultaneously invade our allies. So they would have to be concerned with their own issues, right? They would have to be concerned with that. No one is going to come save us if we get attacked. Nobody. No one. No one will come to save us if we get attacked. And the key difference between us and Ukraine, right, is the fact that we have something that the Ukraine did not have. Weeks from knowing that they were going to get it, because they knew they were going to get invaded. They knew it. And you remember what they did, the government of Ukraine? Remember what they did those 2 weeks before Russia actually started to invade? They gave their people weapons and ammunition and started to train them in the use of those weapons. Well, it's 2 weeks. But the advantage we have is we have those weapons already, and we have the ability to train with them. Yeah. So that's the key difference. So while no one would come to save us, including Ukraine, we would be able to defend ourselves. Yes, Stephen X, the Americans are heavily armed. Yes, the American people. Sunshine says, and you are correct, we never gave consent. Absolutely not. We were born into this, y'all. If you were born in this country and your parents gave you a social security number and a birth certificate, guess what? That was your parents giving government consent over you, right? Because of course, you know, you're you can't make these decisions for yourself, right? Your parents are the only legitimate authority over you. So, but look, I understand it. I understand that they basically needed to give the consent in order for us to live comfortably within this country, right? In order to benefit from what our parents were getting taxed for. Because if they didn't do that, well, you know, once you became of an age where your parents wanted you to participate in certain things, you would need some sort of identification. So they really had no choice. But the bottom line is, Russia and Ukraine there's only two ways that's going to end, y'all. There's only two ways that's going to end. Well, there's three ways. There's three ways. One way is Russia overwhelms the Ukrainian military and takes over the entire country, right? Or here's another scenario. Zelensky comes to the table with Putin and they discuss which territories would go over to Russia, right? That would be the one that made the most sense. That would be the scenario that makes the most sense, right? That's the most sensible. That would save the most lives. And that's something that can be done today. Zelensky can do that shit today. But there's also a third scenario. The European gets involved. They continue to fund the Ukraine, right? They continue to give them aid and weapons and money to continue their campaign, right? And this thing will get drawn out for another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. For the life of me, I don't know where the Ukraine is getting all these people, right? Where are they getting the people to get on these front lines, right? Well, I can tell you, they're conscripting women and older men, right? That's what it has come to. And if Zelensky really cared about his people, he will come to the table with Russia right now and say, look, you took Georgia a long time ago. You annexed that. Let's talk about what we can do to end this, right? Which territories do you feel are the most important? Why do you want these territories? Tell me what you want, right? That's what is the most sensible thing. That would save the most lives. That would get in this thing, right? Russia would say, oh, okay, we want this, we want that, we want this, right? And we also don't want you to join NATO. We don't want NATO on our doorstep. Because that's another big part of it. Right? Russia does not want the Ukraine to become part of NATO. Because they don't want NATO not sniffing at their door, getting all up in their business. Right? And then there are there's the Black Sea and all that. So yeah, that would be the most sensible thing for Zelensky to do at this point in time. It seems like the weakest move, but the weakest move is to continue this shit and have more lives destroyed, have more territories destroyed, right? And potentially thousands of more lives taken. You know, that's not sensible at all. and getting the European Union involved to drag this thing out further, well, at some point, Ukraine is going to need more fighters, right? Russia brought in North Koreans. Stephen A. says, Putin has imperial ambitions. I would not put it past him. I would not put it past him. I think that he might have imperial ambitions as well. Right? I do believe. And one thing you would want to do is to stop Putin in his tracks, right? Because that's the idea is, well, if we let Putin take the Ukraine, well, what's to stop him from going into Poland? What's to stop him from going into Belarus, right? Well, Belarus is already aligned with Russia, right? They're already aligned with Russia. We have to understand that many of these Eastern European countries that used to be part of the Soviet Union, a lot of the people in these countries want to be part of Russia once again. 11 Evans says conscription is the worst form of slavery. Absolutely, absolutely. And if Russia wants to go beyond the Ukraine and into further into Europe, Europe is going to have to get it popping, right? They're going to have to get it popping, right? Listen, Europe is going to have to defend itself. Now, if, let's say, Russia takes over Ukraine and starts pushing into Europe, should we get involved then? Should we get involved then? Because what's to stop Russia from trying to push into the United States? Well, Russia is a lot closer to the United States than we think. Right? It's very close to Alaska, the Bering Strait. I mean, it's not that far apart, right? Russia is right damn near. I mean, you can see Russia from Alaska. And so, how far does Putin want to take his empire? And if Putin spreads his empire far enough, how much influence over the world will he have, right? In terms of commerce, in terms of trade, in terms of anything like that. How much influence will he have? How will that affect us? Well, it depends on us, right? It depends. How much do we need from other countries? How much do we need from these other countries? Do we need these other countries in terms of resources, in terms of trade routes, all that type of shit? How much do we need? What do we need from these other countries? To those just coming in, please don't forget the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Yes, Sunshine, thank you for pointing that out. Europe has to take responsibility for his own security. Trump seems to be a Russian asset. LOL. Well, it might seem that way. It might seem that way. That's what I hear on the news, right? That's what the mainstream media pushes. And I'm no Trump supporter, by the way. I don't support any president or any government official. I'm anti-government. I'm an anarchist. So, at the end of the day, they're all assets of each other. Think about it. Every world leader, every so-called world leader, all these governments, all the governments of the world They need conflict. They need war. They need conflict, right? They need Russia's. They need China's. Just like China's need the United States. China needs the European Union. China needs whoever our so-called allies are to justify their existence. You see, governments need to justify their existence. Excuse me. And the best way to do that is to perpetuate conflict. So the way I see it is every government that exists in the world today that thrive on conflict are assets of countries they have conflict with. If that makes sense. Because without it, right? Think about it. If we didn't have weapons of mass destruction, right? Let's go back to 9/11, right? Let's go back to that. For whatever reason, we needed something to happen, right, to drag us into another war. And when we tried to push this idea, right, that Afghanistan was involved, and that guy Osama bin Laden, he orchestrated the attacks. We needed that to serve a purpose. That purpose was to create conflict. And it wasn't enough, right, for that conflict to remain in Afghanistan. No, it wasn't enough. The conflict had to go beyond that. It had to go to Iraq, because Saddam Hussein wasn't playing ball, right? He wasn't playing ball. And so in order for them to seek retribution against Saddam Hussein, in order for them to take Saddam Hussein out, they had to create these scenarios. They had to create these narratives that were completely false. Because first it was, Iraq is harboring Osama bin Laden, right? But when that didn't pan out, what did they say? Oh, well, they had weapons of mass destruction. Well, when that turned out to be a lie, what did they then say? Oh, it's Operation Iraqi Freedom. We need to spread democracy. We need conflict. So even though Saddam Hussein was supposedly an enemy of the United States, he was an asset of the United States. An asset that justified the extortion of the American people to create and to perpetuate conflict in the Middle East for the purpose of controlling natural resources within Iraq, right? In order to control natural resources within Afghanistan with the poppy and all that shit. Conflict is everybody's asset when it pertains to the government, right? There always has to be a looming threat, right? Kengar J says, don't know about Russia, but is he a J asset? Yep. Oh, for sure. Kengar J, anybody in that Oval Office is going to be an Israeli asset, a small hat asset. Stephen X says states are only concerned with their own self-preservation. These are facts. Sunshine says, which country has the most advanced non-human soldiers? Which country has the most military bots? Military bots. Kengar J says the U.S. Yeah, a lot of the budget goes to that. Facts. But who knows, man? Who knows? Stephen A says national security interest. Yeah. I was watching this show called Pantheon, right? It's a show called Pantheon. It's about this concept known as uploaded intelligence. Uploaded intelligence basically meaning that you could upload a person's consciousness into basically into a computer, right? Into a server, right? So that once you upload their mind, right? You upload their mind into the computer, and you're not just getting their intellectuality, right? You're also getting their emotionalism, like them as a whole, what makes them who they are is uploaded into a cloud, basically. And they exist within a computer program, and they can do a lot of shit with computers. And then, typically you want the uploaded intelligence motherfuckers to be very smart, very like one-of-a-kind individuals, like geniuses, right? People that know how to do certain shit. And not just with computers. So the one person that was uploaded was some chick that was good at trading stocks, right? But when they uploaded her intelligence, she was able to trade stocks at many times the speed as when she was a human being. So she was making companies a whole lot of money. And then there was a guy who, you have different aspects of things that you're good at. They upload your intelligence into the computer, and you're able to compute what you're already naturally able to do as a human, as a computer software program, at the speed of a quantum computer, right? But the human brain, no computer that exists today processes information as fast as the human brain. But because of the limitations of the human body, we can't do nearly what we imagine we can do. But when we're uploaded into a computer, and everything's tied to computers now, right? I don't know if you guys heard of the Internet of Things. Basically, the Internet of Things is everything that you possess, everything that you own, everything that you wear, everything that you drive, anything that you possess is connected to a network, right? Connected to the internet. So that like a ring, a watch, your car, obviously your cell phones, your house, because now they got smart houses and smart homes and shit. Everything, right? Your air conditioner is tied to the, your heating, your HVAC system is tied to the computer, right? It's tied to the internet, because now you got that Nest, right? I don't know if anybody has a Nest at their house, where you can basically, like right now, I can pick up my phone and change the temperature in my house from my phone. So that's what is known as the Internet of Things. So basically anything that you do on an everyday basis is connected to the internet. Everything you use. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, anybody that has access to that, anybody that knows how to get into the back door of anything that you possess, can control your shit, right? Excuse me. So basically, that's what this uploaded intelligence will be able to do, right? Some somebody was uploaded, and they were able to send videos. They were able to take videos from private videos from somebody's phone and show everybody in the classroom what was going on. You know what I'm saying? That video, right? So you'll essentially have no privacy whatsoever, zero privacy. So, and it would take nothing for them to hack your shit and to put it out there. And then eventually, as shit progressed, they were able to get nuclear codes and launch nuclear missiles. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. They were able to get into government servers, right? Hack the government servers and launch missiles and launch missile attacks. It's wild shit, right? Oh yeah, they track. Oh yeah, they absolutely track our metadata. But imagine somebody that, like a hacker, like a dope ass hacker, or a national security agent, or somebody like that. Somebody that knows how to hack computers, but they're limited again. They're limited by their physical their physical body. Imagine their being is uploaded into the computer. They have no limitations as long as they have these servers, right, that need a lot of energy to power, right? You need a lot of energy to power these servers, but as long as they have it, they can process data and information just like that. And it would take zero effort. Listen, this predictive programming is real shit. But here's the thing with Pantheon, though, with uploaded intelligence. Once your intelligence is uploaded, you're no longer going to be living as a human being, right? They need to scan your brain, but when they scan your brain, they are basically frying your brain at the same time. So as they go through your brain, they scan your brain is getting evaporated. So once you're uploaded, you're dead. Like your physical being is dead, but you exist in the computer you exist in the cloud, you exist within the servers or whatever, you exist within that, but your body's dead. So that's all she wrote for that. But I can see that actually being a possibility, and trust and believe that that's something they want to be able to do, right? But the whole point is our governments, there's no such thing as a truly benevolent or truly there's no such thing as a truly benevolent government. There's no such thing as altruism when it comes to anything our government does, or any other government, because our governments thrive on conflict. Our government thrives on conflict. Our government thrives on the looming threat that they can present to us in order to keep us in line, right? Because without government, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to get destroyed by this country. We're going to get destroyed by that country if our government goes away. If our government isn't here for us, then we're screwed, right? Well, think about what Stephen X said. Stephen X said Trump is a Russian asset. And in reality, he kind of is, right? Because pulling funding from the Ukraine and stopping aid makes it easier for Russia to do what they do, right? It makes it easier for them to further push into Ukraine and further get what they want in this campaign. But at the same time, it's something that we needed to do. We needed to remove ourselves, right? We needed to remove our aid and remove our funding from Ukraine in order to bring a conclusion to this shit, right? Don't worry. We have many other conflicts that we're going to be involved in. Trust me. And they know it's coming. Dead Mike, what's good, brother? Sunshine says, can the scan network within the brain be transferred to another human or biohost? Not in the show. Because in the show, your brain is just being scanned into the computer. They haven't discussed being able to transfer your intelligence to another human being. But what they did do was the guy that came up with uploaded intelligence, what he did was he cloned himself. He cloned himself because he was unable to have children, and he had like a terminal cancer, right? He had terminal cancer and he was dying. And when you, I don't want to spoil it, but fuck it. Spoilers coming for Pantheon if you guys are interested in watching that. He wasn't able to have children, but what he did was he cloned himself, right? He cloned himself, and this is a very interesting concept. He cloned himself because he was dying. And the reason he did that was because the people who had their intelligence uploaded, there is a flaw built into it. Now, it's not a flaw that they intentionally put in. It's a flaw that comes with it, because when your intelligence is uploaded into this shit, the more processing power you use, the more your mind starts to decay, right? So as they're using this processing power, they're basically decaying, right? They're eventually their intelligence, their brain, their essence of themselves will go away, right? They will no longer exist, right? And the more they start to decay, the less intelligent they become. So that flaw existed when the creator of it made it, but he did not have time to fix the flaw, right? He was trying to fix the flaw. So in order to do it, he felt like he was the only person that could solve the problem. So he cloned himself so that his cloned self could solve the problem, right? Because, theoretically, his cloned self would live longer and be able to, and he would have more time to solve the problem. So that was one way that he was able to transfer his intelligence into another person by cloning himself, right? So there are limitations to this shit. 11 Evans says there is no such thing as good government. Facts. It is a moral duty to think for yourself. Absolutely. This is why they was after you. Huh? Get me to work in their labs. I was working on this way back in grade school. I was proving the harnessing of energy via. Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad you didn't work for them either. You worked for McDonnell Douglas, and I was part of the NASA youth program when you were a minor. Oh, okay. That's what's up. So when basically when he cloned himself, right? But the clone had to live basically the exact same life of the creator, and he had to have certain inflection points throughout his life so that he would get to the same point, right? so that by the time he became the age of the creator who had cancer, he would be able to solve the problem. But again, theoretically, he wouldn't have the cancer. He would be able to solve the flaw. Very interesting. But anyway, y'all. The bottom line is, trying to threaten sanctions against Russia didn't work when Biden did it. When Biden threatened sanctions against Russia, didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And they were able actually to gain a little bit more influence, right? Sanctions aren't going to work against Russia. What you have to do, you pulled aid and funding from Ukraine. All you can do is sit back and mind your business. But pulling the aid from Ukraine and then threatening Russia with sanctions, I mean, it's a paper tiger. It's a paper tiger. You just made the Ukraine weaker and more susceptible to Russia's attacks. But now you're saying, well, if you take advantage of the gap we left, then we're going to sanction you. That's not going to do anything, y'all. The bottom line is, again, like I said, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It is what it is. Stephen A. says Trump doesn't know what he's doing. No, it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. And that's why I said it doesn't matter if he puts sanctions on Russia. If he already pulled aid and funding. If Trump told the world that he is not going to help Ukraine in any way, right? He was ready to help Ukraine, but Zelensky came in with his entitlement and fucked all that up. So you just told the world that you're going to let the Ukraine fight its own battles, you know, and then trying to sanction Russia. I mean, it is pointless. It's completely pointless. They go after those who display exceptional background or unique skills in math, science, or problem solving. Yep, makes sense. Oh, Sunshine, that's just a show. That's a TV show. But like I said, I can see it happening. I can see it being a possibility. And that's basically what they did in the show. In the show, once the government had access to the technology, that's exactly what they did. They went to people who showed exceptional skill and intelligence and math and science and whatnot, and they went to them to have their intelligence uploaded. But again, of course, like I said, it comes at the cost of their lives, right? They can no longer live within their human body. But yeah. Am I still beefing with Kumo D? Dead Mike, you wild as hell, man. Anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all. The bottom line is, man, that we just need to mind our own business. Point blank and period, right? First of all, we can't afford to keep getting involved with these conflicts, right? And it's none of our business. And what we need to do is focus on defending this country, right? We need to get all our troops back. Because, listen, man, shit's gonna go down eventually. Shit's gonna go down. And we don't want to be vulnerable back here, right? Even though we do have all these weapons, right? We got 400 million. We got over 400 million firearms among the civilian population. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want, we want the country to be heavily defended. That's the bottom line to it, right? And that's what our focus should be. But it is what it is, y'all. We'll see what happens, right? Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the likes. Thanks for hitting that like button, man. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for coming with understanding and all that shit. You know, thanks for coming with the understanding that government is destruction, right? Government is destruction. Government is trouble, and it's something that we need to really, really think about dealing with in a certain way, right? And there are many ways you can deal with it. So that's what I got. Sunshine says they ever figure out a way to physically enslave our actual consciousness, we are screwed. Yeah, and they're working on it. They're working on it. Absolutely. 11 Evan. Peace, love, and anarchy. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. And we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. Peace.